Do you have slides?
No, I don't. I thought it was going to end up being a bit of a chat anyway. So.
Yeah, no, very good. No, absolutely fine by me. So, all yours. Gus from BT.
Well, evening all. 10 minutes, not very long. And obviously there's probably lots of questions, most of which I may not be able to answer if they're very, very specific, but I thought I'd take 1 or 2 minutes just to introduce who I am and what I am for SME and SME in Oxfordshire and Buckinghamshire. So my name is Gus Barrett, Regional Manager for BT Local Business. And BT Local Business, there are 40 of us that look after SMEs in the UK. We are the local branch that look after about 2.5 million SMEs on behalf of BT Local Touch and Feel, so that most of you have had an interaction with BT just from a call center perspective. When that's done, you'll head in, hopefully somehow you get to us and we look after you slightly better. 1,000 odd advisors and consultants, and we're there purely to walk you through this absolute minefield. And there are many valid points we've made tonight, and one of them is it's not about broadband, or for BT it's not about broadband, it's about connectivity. You have to run a business off the internet, and you're going to become more reliant on it. There are so many products that BT have, it would take me 20 minutes just to go through all of the internet products. But from a local business perspective, how we look after all of the SMEs is from calls, lines, telephone systems, packages, looking after your PCs. What do you do about roaming charges, teleworking? How do you bring your own device? How do you take your data home on your mobile phone? How do you look after, how do you go to the cloud? What parts of it are on the cloud? So it's a much bigger concept. And when you look at the internet piece, it's fundamental in tying all those bits and pieces together. Things like Office 365 are going to become the mainstay for SMEs. We are seeing a huge shift from people going, couldn't be bothered with the way that I run my email, my platforms, and how I can do collaboration between my customers and my suppliers via LinkedIn. Office 365 is going to become mainstay. But all of that's dependent on broadband, so to speak. For us, once again, it's connectivity. If I have a look at some customers just around here, well, I'll talk about the anomalies, and the map was quite relevant. We have patches everywhere. In the UK, BT are not producing just fibre to the cabinet, but we're producing fibre to the premises. We actually have, and don't ask me why, we have a test bed in Didcot, and we're running 330 meg to the businesses. So there's nothing there, there's not very much businesses, but we're ploughing that through, and we're doing that a lot more in Cornwall, and we're just understanding the feasibility of that before we roll it out. I have another SME startup which is doing really, really well, trying to do streaming to mobile phones via TV, and they've gone from 10 gig to 20 gig, and because they've invested in the infrastructure, every additional 10 gig, 10,000 meg is only costing them £5,000 a year. So you have this extreme, differentials, and then where I live, just on the outskirts of Windsor, I get 2.5 meg. So, I get my own rubbish broadband, and I've had to go and get multiple broadbands bonded. So I've taken 4 broadband lines, stuck them together, and that's one option that all of you have, is going from single broadband to mobile to bonded broadband to EFM or GEA, and it is such a minefield. But the questions are always the same. Where do I get the rental premises versus my connectivity? And can 4 or 5 of us get together and band up and beat up the landlord in order to get better premises and get shared ducting? BT cannot provide everything to everybody, and we're very, very pleased that there are people we're picking up the management, because it's impossible for us to do everything. So there's businesses that help and support SMBs just like we do in order to get it integrated into the business. But as always, I think the first port of call would be, phoning up BT, going, look, what can I really, really get, and what can I get right now, and what's available in 2014 and 2015 when our network is rolled out correctly. And if that doesn't fit you in the next 2 years, then there are viable alternatives, other companies that are making a significant investment in order to support you as well. So there isn't a clear answer, I'm afraid. It is where you are, what you can achieve versus what your business requires, and of course versus budget and rental, taking into, once again, your account of growth. So with that in mind, I'll open up the floor. There's a barrage of questions.
Oh, it's a very honest summary, so thanks for that. Yeah, I think it's that's very practical if that's where it is. So, as Gus says, questions from man for BT. Yeah.
Can you tell me more about what's going on in Didcot?
Well, we're producing something called fibre to the premises instead of fibre to the cabinet. So fibre to the cabinet, you get into the cabinet, you're using existing copper lines into the premises. Now we're taking the fibre directly into the premises, and well, the speeds we're achieving at the moment are 330 meg into the premises.
And that's in the town itself?
Yes.
There's one in Deddington as well, actually.
Correct.
So it
I
was
think it's probably two BT high-level executives in Deddington and Didcot.
Well, that was your question for saying, just why is it happening in Didcot? Is it?
No, what's happening is why I'm in the middle of Didcot and why I don't know about
Oh,
it.
I see. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
There you are. Now it's getting warmed up.
And I was just doing a sum. Did you say there's how many million customers and you've got 40 of you to deal with them?
Yeah, so I look after, that's a grand number, I look after about 22,000 SMEs in Oxfordshire and Buckinghamshire. I think I get round to each one every 5 years.
I now know the answer to my other question. Why did I know that?
But yeah, there is a lovely website called Sam Knows. There's a Sam Knows where you type in your local postcode and it'll tell you all the services that are currently available, what's coming, which providers are in the area that you can have a look at. And I mean, because BT is an infrastructure provider and a wholesale provider to other companies, as well as trying to deliver it, to SMEs. But I mean, in the areas where we are making strides, we are increasing, for example, the GEA platform. You're getting 30 meg internet access. I mean, the prices have dropped massively in the last 2 years. But once again, we just won't get to all the premises.
So it's a serious question. So if you wanted to go and, sorry, I don't know your name, sorry.
David Pratt.
So if David wanted to, all joking aside, just connect into that Didcot, super fast hub, what would David do?
Well,
Get your card afterwards,
give us a call.
Yeah.
I'll drive you, push you off to the web, but rather have the one-to-one interaction with us.
Yeah.
Let you know exactly what your postcodes can get, and instead of just pushing you over to a website,
Yeah.
let's pick it up for you and deliver you a personalised service.
So you can use your once in the 5 year token this evening and talk to the man. So yeah.
2x max.
Alternatively, Stu, you can talk to SDL because everything.
Oh yeah. You got class, ain't you?
Brendan is proud.
It's a fair point, actually.
So
We were able to wholesale and we
Yeah.
did it quite. Conversely, we have time to spend with our customers. We've got 1,000 customers, and we're based in Whitney and loads in Oxfordshire. And I've got a team of 4 account managers, and we've got the time to spend on it. But we can effectively wholesale the infrastructure that these guys are providing.
So Phil, it's not meant to be an unfair question and put you on the spot, but if I'm David, if he could buy directly from BT,
Yeah.
if he goes via you, does it end up being hugely more expensive? Is it
Because we're buying at whole-sale. So actually,
Okay, so there's no reason.
more often than not, with our wholesale discount that we would buy directly from BT, we would sell to you at a lower retail than BT would sell to you directly. That's typically how it works out.
This is really exciting. I don't even know what a cloud is.
GEA. In fact, I don't know what GEA is. Gus, do you want to just
It's-
spill the beans on that?
It's when you can't play cricket.
Oddly enough, what we're now producing is like you getting super fast broadband, and it's contended and it's asynchronous. We're utilizing the exact same infrastructure to provide you dedicated connectivity. So it's fundamentally, instead of find a bit of one cable and sharing that amongst 50 people, and you have asynchronous upload and download, we're using the exact same technology and then carving up that piece just for you. So it's fundamentally super fast broadband that acts like a leased line.
Okay.
But at a,
So it's quite expensive once point to point dedicated.
no, it's just point to internet. It's not point to point. So it's just internet access, but at a different price bracket on different technologies. And the thing what I'm trying to get across is that technology is shifting all the time, and you shouldn't get hung up on, am I interested in fibre to the cabinet, fibre to the premises, super fast broadband, GEA, EFM, just. I need internet. This is what I need it for. This is how I think I'm growing, and and I might need voice over IP or might need teleworkers on it. Talk to me properly about what you can provide, and we'll advise you accordingly.
Yes.
Can I just ask, I've missed my calls with the BT call centre, so I have to say, could you just explain the council-supported fibre rollout for the county? Presumably it's directed at BT.
I have to be honest, I don't know, because I'm not directly involved in the actual county rollout rules, but I do know a person who is, who deals with that so the actual rollout, the only thing from our side is we get notified when something is active, and then we address customers accordingly.
So if anybody in the panel could just explain to us about all the blue that's on the plan that you were showing?
Yeah. So there is a scheme called BT UK, Broadband UK. It's government funded, so the government makes some funding available, and they put it out to tender. BT won every tender for everywhere. Yeah, pretty much. So BT are going to deliver super, have been contracted and have got funding from the government to deliver super fast broadband. That super fast broadband is based on fibre to the cabinet largely. But as we saw earlier on, it's patchy, and it's patchy because, as Steve quite rightly pointed out, it's based on uptake and it's based on return on investment. So you will see the majority of rollouts happening where there are lots of dwellings, not necessarily business premises. It's also, I mean, a point that I was going to make earlier on is that even if you can get fibre to the cabinet or Infinity or superfast broadband or whatever, that doesn't necessarily automatically mean that that's going to be suitable to deliver voice applications. Of course, we come at everything from a voice point of view. We're a voice reseller that sells broadband, the fact that you have superfast broadband doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for your voice over IP. So there are certain boxes that need to be ticked. We actually deliver it using BT infrastructure, but the cloud behind the BT tail infrastructure or the clear infrastructure is really vitally important as well.
Just to add to that, on voice over IP side, I've had some near-death experiences with delivering voice over IP over just kind of standard internet connections with kind of very poor call quality, particularly from a business perspective. So
we've learned the hard way,
Yeah.
and we've built up. Well, we've not got a Worcester forest storage, but we have learned the hard way, and we know absolutely what needs to be done now to deliver voice over IP reliably. And it's just, you do have to absolutely, definitely tick certain boxes when it comes to data access.
It is now kind of a mature technology. If you'd asked me kind of 5 years ago, I said, don't touch it. Because there's so many bad installation.
Yeah, we're at the point now where if we deliver voice over IP, we actually, as STL, as the supporter, the service provider of that voice service, we offer a better service level agreement and a better guarantee on voice over IP than we do on wholesale BT and SDN services. So it's at that stage now. It is a completely mature technology, but it's only as good as the pipe that you put in now.
And if it's correctly implemented, the voice quality is as good as an ISDN connection, better than a handheld phone line connection.
There's a question there, yeah?
Yeah, I just run a little deli.
A very good little deli, though.
But
I have
it
to
is.
say.
It's
You'll have to
the
say the name of
best
it.
in the area.
I'm sure you can say the name of it. It's a little bit of...
Umami deli.
There we are.
Our data requirements aren't great, but we've just moved to 365.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in getting my accounting package at home and stuff like that. How agitated should I be about this, the quality and the speed of broadband between Wantage and Oxford, where I live? I mean, at the moment, I'm not really using 365, but I'm going to once Christmas out of the way, and I've stopped selling things. I mean, is this? Should I be looking to try and improve my broadband connection, or will what I've got be okay? Is it worth spending money?
Yeah, well.
And we haven't tackled
We would say, BT would say absolutely that it's worth spending money on the best quality connection you can get. But one thing I can tell you is that even if you are just a deli, you don't have, particularly, extreme communications requirements, they're only going to increase.
Yeah.
So lots of services that businesses use that will run on site are now going to the cloud. And at the moment, most of it's optional, so you can virtualize stuff or you can run it on site. At some point in the future, it won't be optional. Everything will run from the cloud.
Yeah.
And that's why connectivity is absolutely critical. So we would always, if you can get fibre to the cabinet, get fibre to the cabinet. If you can afford it,
Yeah.
I would recommend that you overspec your data access because your requirements will only increase.
Yeah, we
It's a fact.
recognise that the cloud computing and cloud storage is going to be essential to the future of our business, because you can't always go to work to get your data, can you?
You can't. I mean,
you get it from wherever you are.
I think I gave a bit of an example of a benefit of using cloud. We use cloud, but when it snowed heavily a couple of years ago, half of STL couldn't get to the office, so we closed the office and sent everyone home, and we carried on completely as normal. Because all our services are virtualised, so everyone's got broadband at home. We've all got IP phone clients, so we can make and receive calls with the office phone numbers and our non-geo roaming numbers. We could access all of our systems, every single one. Nothing changed.
I'm amazed, given the fact you did that you still did so well in the best companies to work for, because basically you just don't stop working, Brendan.
Yeah.
It's absolutely snowing outside, everyone else is enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
You work more
What was
than
noticeable is they all worked on an hour, so the travel time they normally spend.
Yeah,
True story.
the man's a monster. Yeah.
Can I pick up on that? Mine, looking at an FTTC connection, but they're in a town centre location, in town centre. So when are the town centres going to be able to get?
That's a loaded and a how long is a piece of string question. The rollout's going to take another 2 years. Not everybody's going to get it. And I don't. There's about, I think, 4,700 cabinets. I know that at the moment there's only 40 in Oxfordshire.
But not connected, it's where they're connected directly to the exchange. So there's no cabinet.
You'd still need to be running FTTC from that exchange. So the exchange talks to the cabinets talk to businesses.
If the business, there's no cabinet between the exchange and the business.
Exchange only lines.
Well,
They don't get fibre to the cabinet.
Yeah.
Is there a BT solution? Should we be talking to us?
What, is there a solution?
No, there are some solutions. BT's already trialling introducing some new cabinets into their network. So where particularly in town centres, they're looking at deploying new cabinets and essentially reparenting those exchange lines onto a new cabinet that they're putting in place. But those trials are early days, and that's further down the investment priority list than doing the middle of a housing estate where there's 2,000 properties connected on the cabinet.
Right,
Obviously, the bang for the buck on that is much higher than on the 50 businesses that might be in the centre of a town.
So should the centre of town, should Wantage be getting all the businesses together? I'm chairman of the Chamber of Commerce in Wantage. Should we be getting everyone in the business together and saying, okay, let's do what we can. Let's see if we can improve our broadband.
Talk to Matthew, and if you get enough, is that?
Well, maybe, but that's not the only solution you've got. I mean, you've got STL were talking about having essentially a custom solution sitting off the back of the existing BT infrastructure, and then bluntly, there are programs that BT, as I understand, is going to be introducing during next year, where they will allow you to contribute towards the cost of getting a new cabinet if you can.
Correct. So BT are looking at going to local councils and we're footing half the bill of a cabinet, which could cost up to £1 million, as long as the council is putting some of the. There's different prices and quality.
Although there's someone actually stumbling a bit.
Yeah, no, it's correct. It's just we're putting in 50% of the investment depending on the requirements of the cabinet.
Yeah.
Matthew, it strikes me that there's quite a lot of questions around, which is brilliant, around getting to know what is available. And there's obviously there are services being provided on offer with varying degrees of kind of commitment and so on that will change over time. There's obviously businesses that are hearing about some of these things for the very first time tonight, including me actually. So it probably makes sense for us as Vale4Business just to keep a running comms going on this, so that as these things roll out next year, we just need to keep feeling stuff out, I guess, don't we? Because it's obviously going to be a moving, well, it should be, because it should be getting better. There should be more things being made available to businesses, particularly businesses. So we should probably just take that on board as Vale4Business, just to keep this stuff, keep people abreast, like David and the DIDCOP hub.
Yeah, I think if I can, Stuart, the Vale District Council's position on this, we have been approached by the County Council, as the gentleman mentioned about the County Council's rollout. We've been approached by the county to ask if we want to top up what the County Council are doing to meet the other 8% or so of the Vale that aren't being included in the package. At the moment, we're waiting for the county and the BT to tell us what we're going to get for our money, because we haven't got millions of pounds sitting around there waiting for this great project to come along, but we recognise it's a vitally important project to develop the local economy, and if we can invest in this in a way that will actually get a good benefit for the rural communities, then that's great. At the moment, we're at the stage of waiting for BT and the County Council to identify which communities they could extend their existing broadband contract to if we fund X amount over and above, and whether or not that would fit the town centre gap, or whether or not it would hit this village or that village. But along with that, I think you're right, we ought to be, and we are talking to all these other potential providers of solutions, because the BT contract may well not be the solution that fits the whole of the district. And I think there's ways in which the Vale District Council might end up leading on some projects, but under Vale4Business, I think we can act as a bit of an umbrella to pull all these things together, because clearly the solution for the rural village will be different from the town centre business location, will be different from the edge of town estate, which might already be covered by BT. And I think what we need to get to a situation is where everyone in the district is covered by a decent standard of superfast broadband, how whatever you define that, whether it's 20 or 30 or 1,000, or depending on your level. But I think that you're right, Stuart. What we need to be looking for is bringing all those solutions together. There will be no one size fits all. Our job is probably to try and piece that jigsaw together to make sure there's no gaps there.
And then communicate, exactly. Just following on from that. Oh, sorry, do you have another question?
Well, I just wanted, I work for a company, I'm a surveyor, but as well as working on 11 business partners in the county, most of my time I spend is actually working for companies relocating. And I think the most valuable thing fantastic hearing this, and actually the major thing is lack of comprehension among the businesses of how to actually find a solution. And if you as a district can act as a portal, develop business, act as a portal to businesses, so I and other people can say, go and look on the website, that's what you need to know, that will give you the direction of who to talk to, because people just don't understand it. And I'm involved on the agents on Bignell and a charity you're talking about, so I put them in touch with you, and that's fantastic, but they have a real problem just finding that out. But I think the one point I would say is that we are in danger actually of this infrastructure lagging behind the aspirations for economic development in the county, and also the development being focused along this knowledge spine, as we repeatedly told, from Vista down to Milton Park, and you can see where the investment is going. If we don't watch it, then everybody will end up going there, and then the rest of the county will just be left behind, and it'll be left to individual landlords who have perhaps got the vision, or maybe the deep pockets to bring in SDL and others in isolation. And that's not the way that actually talking to the